My attitude of serving others in the wrestling business is completely the wrong attitude to make millions of dollars. Here's how it went down. I saw it, people started talking to me about it, and I'm like, I don't know anything. I wasn't getting a call, getting a text, getting a THX email from Vince. I wasn't getting any of that. What I did was I got a call from Glenn Jacobs, and he said, Mark Corano wants you to call him. And I said, well, what's this? Is this about that thing about them wanting guys back in the company or something? And he goes, I don't know, maybe. He goes, I hope so. That'd be cool, man, because I haven't hung out with Glenn in forever, and I was really tight with him. I still am to this day. But then he goes, call Mark Corano, who was in charge of talent relations at the time, and you know how that ended up. So I call Mark, and I leave a message, and I'm mad about this because in wrestling, it's like you sold for them, and it's like with the boys, you get mad at yourself for selling for whatever kind of hope or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'll give him a call. Called, no answer. Now, Glenn had given me the impression he had just talked to Mark Corano, and I called him. I got the voicemail, and I say, hey, Mark, it's Stevie. Glenn told me to give you a call. I'll be around. Just give me a call. If I don't answer, I'm probably overtraining. Just make him laugh. But I'll call you right back after that. Okay, cool, man. Here's my number in case you don't have it. I get a call or a text, one or the other. It doesn't matter because probably a half hour to an hour later, I get that call or text from Glenn. Hey, Mark wants you to call him back. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing this effing game. That's what I said to Glenn. I'm not playing this game. If they want to call and they want to talk to me, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to talk to them. But if these are kind of games, tell them not to bother. And they didn't bother. So I guess they were looking to play games. That's the end of it. Now I've gotten the, no pun intended, maybe a little bit, the rumblings around November, December that, hey, are you in shape? How are you looking? Or you're looking good, man. Do you still take bumps? That yearly kind of Royal Rumble, trying to figure out who the surprises are, or the little whatever, you know, even Meanie, like I give him credit for all the history that they had initially. Bradshaw, JBL, was politicking to get Meanie in the Rumble in Philly as a surprise entrance. That's kind of cool that they can kind of do that 180, and John is actually kind of advocating for Meanie to be a surprise entrance, get him an extra payday. That's pretty good. I never got that far. I got to the point of just asking me if I've been bumping, working, you're looking good, or how do you feel, and nothing after that. And it was usually one of the boys in the company. It wasn't even an office person. And the boys don't ask you, hey, how you feeling? Are you in shape? No, that's not. So it's just kind of funny.
Did you seriously, I mean, if they'd offered you a ton of money, I'm sure, but would you have seriously considered going back on the road full time?
Back in 15, 16, maybe, because I was running out of money again. I was not making money. I was working about 100 hours a week at a certain place in Georgia, and I was doing a lot of great work, a lot of great experience for my fitness brand, but was not making money, was not making ends meet, was working indies, and those were starting to, the longer you're off TV, those indies and the pay is always going to go down. So to me, I looked at that like, okay, if I just go back, I'll have a completely different attitude, perspective. Maybe this time I won't let them walk all over me, but let me find a respectful middle ground to where you can't walk on me, but I'm still going to kind of put up with the BS for money. My guess is I would have been 75 grand again. They don't see any value in me. If they saw value in me, they would have had somebody from the office legitimately contact me and invest the time to have conversations. I wasn't on that level. I would have went back, but I would have probably known I was on a pitch count. But then again, too, at the same time, if it was 2 years later, when my fitness business, my home gym business, my affiliate business, and the freedom to create multiple streams of income were starting to kind of bear fruit, when you go to WWE, they don't let you do outside stuff, whether officially or unofficially, by keeping you so busy that you have no time or energy for anything else. So, yes, I probably would have in 2000, 2015, 16, 2024. It's not even a money thing. It's more of freedom, health, recovery, routine, all that stuff. It would be slim to none. By the way, WWE in 2000, from 99 to '08, from 2015 to now, 20, 50 years into the future, you don't need Stevie Richards. I'm not going to be a blip on the radar. I'm not going to be a needle mover. I'm not seen as that. And I have enough self-awareness to know that I'm never going to be figured in to the wrestling. So I'm going to create, that's why we started this show. We're going to create our own opportunities, our own way of presenting professional wrestling. My God, what kind of Philly accent was that? I put the pro in professional, the pro wrestling business, and this I can't age out of. This my spine can't break. Well, we keep doing 2-hour shows, maybe, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but you do, I mean, look, you are far too self-deprecating in that sense because you do have value and you've got value for goodness sake. I mean, if nothing else, I was thinking now when you did the analysis channel, and that was a big success, and a lot of people noticed it, and you are a teacher of this more or less anyone else out there. Is a lot of people have asked, why don't you start a wrestling school? You've obviously got a mind for it, but that's its own issues and challenges, I guess, running a business like that, and it's a full-time plus affair every single day of your life. I don't know if you want to or not.
I had feelers out for different wrestling schools. I want it to be a whiteboard segment. Like, if you want to legitimately run a wrestling school, how much is it going to cost? Because that's exactly it. There's a saying too. If the wrestling school was run like a real business, then anybody who's a real businessman would never run a wrestling school or something to that effect, because you have to deal with so much stuff. And also, we can get into more detail. What did I get? You already wrote it down. Wrestling school whiteboard. It's just something in my own heart. I can't lie to a young person and give them weaponized hope. Now, I can tell people you have potential. Everybody can have a place in the business. If you put the machine behind anybody, you can draw money and make money. Maybe not sustain it, but you can make anybody a star in this business with the right creative presentation, no matter who it is. But in a wrestling school, number one, I don't have a pipeline to WWE, AEW, TNA. That's what makes a wrestling business money. The hope that if I go to, say, Bubba Ray or Devon's wrestling school in Orlando, if I go to Cody's school in Georgia, I know they have a pipeline, a political connection to maybe get me a dark match, to maybe get me a tryout, to maybe get me an enhancement spot on TV. That's what makes wrestling schools money. I have quite the opposite. This show, the wrestling analysis, Cody summed it up in 22 seconds in that clip. People politically, I am a pariah in the wrestling business, but I still have a great passion and love to foster, to cultivate, to teach, to educate, and also, more importantly, to help the younger generation avoid the mistakes that I've made and probably currently still making.
Well, I mean, it's a different way of getting it out there, essentially, isn't it? And if nothing else, this takes up less time, and you don't have to rent a big building, and it's free for everybody.
I am looking to rent a big building for the studio. Don't jinx me.
At some point, I am as well. But the office here is great and everything's a lot bigger, but it comes with its own challenges working from home, which I'm sure you'll know as well.
What if you move to Florida? No state tax. You move to Florida, and we basically run a building together and have a studio.
That will never happen. Just so you know. Hey, it's tough enough to get me out of the village, let alone move to a different city or even a country.
Just you saying village makes me want to live where you live. I need a smaller town. I don't need a city.
You and me both. First time I went to New York, I was like, man, I could so live here. I'd love this. It was like in my early 20s. And then the next time I went, I just went, this is terrible. I mean, I love being there, but it's like, I couldn't live here.
A crotchety old man in no time.
Yeah.
I know.
Where are all these young people with their, oh, look at that stupid guy with the Daisy Dukes and the half shirt, Stevie King and Santa Claus. I hate that guy.
Just very quickly, just before we get off this one last time, is would you have in 2015, 2016, NXT was rocking and rolling back then. They were doing some great shows at the time. Would you have seen yourself fitting in NXT more and maybe not going on the road, but being either a guest trainer or almost like a player coach kind of thing?
100%. And I would love to.
Like Chris Hero, in fact.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been a player coach because that way it's okay for me not to be anywhere near mid or top card. I could be first, second match. If I have a project, a pet project, say at the time, Terry Taylor or Matt Bloom tell me, this guy, you got to get ready for TV. Essentially extending my spot before where I'd work people on house show loops, their first match on TV, that kind of thing. If I could have that to me, that was the most revered, most fulfilling spot I ever had in my career. Was when I see Batista on TV, Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, anybody I had a hand, even, maybe not in the ring, but talk to, help Dreamer, kind of bring along. John Morrison, I worked in OVW, seeing he and Joey Mercury as a team, doing some stuff with Cena early on in UPW in California, doing some stuff with Frankie Kazarian before he got his push. The list goes on and on of the great amount of fulfillment I have in that spot. If they told me, hey, we're going to run you ragged, you're going to be every house show and booked, you're going to be involved in a major angle, money would have a part to tempt me, but for longevity, and said, you can either have a 6-month run in this spot where it features you, but it's going to fizzle out quick because you're not figured in. Or for the next 5 years, you're going to have a TV spot, you're going to be getting promos, we're going to keep you in the mix to where when someone beats you, it means something, and you're going to coach these kids, the next crop of talent that's going to be at WrestleMania and everything. From a money standpoint, it might be a little less. From a legacy and fulfillment standpoint, that would have been the most, how can I say, what's the kind of word I'm looking for with this? I would have wanted that spot more than any other one, because that would have been the one that we could talk about for the next 10 years on the show.
With that
There's not too many people, by the way, there's not too many people, and that my attitude of serving others in the wrestling business, unfortunately, is completely the wrong attitude to make millions of dollars. Just a little bit of advice. If you want to be a top star, make a ton of money, and if you want to be ruthlessly aggressive, you need to do the exact opposite of what I would have loved to have done.